All right, you guys, let me test, make sure that we're live and direct. I am so sorry that it took us so long. I was still in my meeting, you know what I mean? I was still in my meeting and I was like, y'all are trying it. Y'all, look, I'm doing the best I can. I'm giving y'all all I got and I'm done. I'm finished. Okay. I am so tired. Anyway, but I was like, I want to do my video. Like, ooh, y'all need to hurry up. Anyway. Anyway, let me make sure we live. Hold up. You know how you in a meeting, like a virtual meeting, and you can just feel your brain frying? Like this is your brain on work. Like I can't. I cannot deal. But it was a meaningful, but also not really. Because I was hoping to get specific information and I was hoping that they were going to give it to us so I can report back. And they never gave us what we really wanted. Like, you know what I mean? Like, is insurance going up? How much is going to come out the check? That's what I want to know. Like, give me the prices. The meaning of this video. I was like, look at this. So fitting. We're talking about soft life. Okay, we're live. Okay. I had to make sure. So we're going to go right into it. Yesterday, we did a video on 32, or it's probably maybe 50. Okay. I don't know, but life lessons. Okay. Life lessons that really put me on game. Just, things that I've learned, all the wisdom I have compiled. And that's not even all of it. So now we got to do a part 2, but I decided to make this video more financially focus, okay? Especially because, with everything that's going on, it's a little hard out here for everybody. And it's like, we want to have a softer life. We want to live and have meaningful lives. But it's just kind of like, if you're barely, making your ends meet, then how are you supposed to get to, the American dream? Or is the American dream really a nightmare? You know what I mean? Like, is that something even like we want or whatever? So it's just like, that's what the meaning of this video is. Hold on, I'm trying to make sure that we are on here. Okay, all right. So the first thing that I have learned over the years is to chase your purpose and not a paycheck. Okay, now I'm gonna tell you one thing for sure. Okay, you need to know that I am about my bread. I am about my ends, my gua, everything, all of that. Okay, dollars and cents. If it don't make dollars, then it's not adding up for me, and I'm not gonna be there. Okay, I'm just letting you know. But I have learned over the years that all money is not good money. You can make a lot of money, but you sacrifice your health and your well-being, your sanity, because you have to spend your time around crazy people, or you are physically incapable of doing whatever is required. You're not getting the sleep. You're stressed out. Like, you only have one you. And at any time, like, the cost of your health or your wellness or even your sanity, the cost is too high. Okay. Listen, the cost is too high. You should never be rushing to work and, you mess around and get into an accident. They'll have you replaced before you're even cold. You know what I mean? Like, they'll already have your position posted up for somebody to replace you. So no job is worth you. You are the asset. You are the human resource. Okay. You are the prize, period. So you have to protect yourself, protect your peace, and money is important. I'm not going to completely leave that out, but it's just like, it's not the end all be all. And it's easier to say that when you have some, right? It's easier to say that money is not the definitive factor when you have some, okay? Because money makes money, right? But not all money is good money. It's harder to explain it, but it's just like, when you don't have money, you'll make compromising decisions because you feel like you need this money. If you're into manifesting money, it's harder to manifest money from scarcity. You see what I'm saying? Because you have this lack. And then when you manifest it from lack, okay, and not an abundance mindset, believing that money is always coming to you and flowing and through you and everything like that, then you'll always attract circumstances where you feel like you have to work harder for your money. There's something attached to it, like strings attached, like all of that goes into it. But you have to know that you are the asset. That's why they call it human resources. period. I was watching something, I think I was on Instagram, and somebody was like, people that don't really care about jobs always be getting jobs because they know they're gonna get another one, period. You have to have that attitude. Like, we get this money, we gonna get some more money. Like, that ain't nothing. Like, that is the easiest thing for me to bring into my life is the money. Okay, so I just want to let you know. Okay, now the next thing I have on here, because I have a list, I wrote this out. Okay, this ain't the chat, this is me, straight off the dome. Okay, it says there's nothing wrong with having and wanting more. Okay, I feel like in the Black community, you know, people think that being Black and being poor is synonymous or one and the same. That is not the truth. Just because the media paints it like, oh, Black people and poverty and being from the hood is that's the media portrayal, but that is not who we are, and that is not who we have to be. Okay, like, there's nothing wrong with you wanting some money, right? Is there something wrong with you, you know, gaining the world and losing your soul? Absolutely. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you know, wanting more for yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. And nobody, you know what I'm saying? What they got to say about it, period. Like, there's nothing wrong with you wanting to have more than enough. Like, it's time for us to get out of that survival mentality. There's nothing wrong with thriving, actually being able to have more money than previous generations. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with setting your kids up. There's nothing wrong with paying for your kids' college or not kicking your kids out as soon as they hit 18, 16, 17. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with taking care of your kids. There's nothing wrong by doing right by future generations. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? And just because you had it tough or your parents had it tough don't mean your kids and your future generations have to have it tough, right? We got to break up out of that, right? You know, and I feel like our community, our newer generations are getting better at that. We're getting better. But like, that's the type of mentality that we need to have. Yes, we need to make money for ourselves, but we need to be thinking long-term, long game. You know what I mean? So if you're always looking for a microwave, quick money or whatever like that, it's going to be gone as soon as you get it. Okay? So keep that in mind, especially for people that are looking, you know, you're in a bad situation and you want to make money, you want to do all these different things. You want to make sure that you're not doing anything that's going to compromise you, and don't always be looking forward to be put on to the quick thing. The quick thing will have you in trouble. You know what I mean? Like, so just take that, you know, and understand, like, it don't always have to be quick. It don't always have to be, I need to make $1 million tomorrow. Like, you know, because they don't make $1 million tomorrow like that. You have to be set up. And in my other videos, it's like you have to prepare and do that long game, right? So the other thing, I touched on it a little bit more, but it's like money attracts money. When you look like money and you are around money, you're going to bring money in, right? You're going to bring that in. I say that because, listen, birds of a feather flock together. My dad always says that you are a sum of the people that you hang around. So if everybody in your friend group is not making ends meet and different things of that nature, it's going to be harder for you to be making ends meet. It's going to be harder for you to be making better choices with your finances, mainly because everybody around you is not making good choices. And then when you start trying to do something different, you on a different program, they're going to start looking at you like you crazy. So you have to align yourself with people who have the intentions and the different things that you want to do, right? So you need to be around money. You know, not to say that you can't learn anything from anybody. You can learn from anybody. You can listen to anybody. I listen to everybody. You don't know where that message gonna come from. You just don't know. Anybody can impart wisdom. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes the wisdom that they're imparting is don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what not to do, right? So if you listen closely, you get a nugget. You get a nugget there, okay? So the next part, let me see what else, because I'm trying to make sure I get through it. Something that I like to do, I like to watch people counting money. That's just a side note. I like to watch people count money and visualize myself counting the money, okay? And I wanted this video because it's soft life. Is it possible? There are still rich people, despite the fact that most people are living paycheck to paycheck. We don't want to talk about that, and that's a tough spot. Like, most people don't want to talk about finances. Most people do not want people in their business like that, for real. But that's why we have so many wealth and income disparities between the demographics, because we're not comparing notes. We're not paying attention. We're paying attention to all this other stuff, but who got the cash? Follow the money, period. So let's talk about men and money. Okay, let me tell you. I used to think that a soft life was given to you, right? By a man. Like, you needed to have a man to have a soft life. But now that I'm older, I feel like a soft life is better when you control it. Whether you control the man or you control the assets, you need to put yourself on. You know what I mean? Like, put yourself in the position that you want to be in. Don't rely up to him, because most people, men and women, make choices based on their thing, whatever they got going on. And most people don't think about other people. You know, like, if you're in a relationship and the man love you, okay, yes, absolutely. But at the same time, most people think about themselves and they put themselves first, right? And something that I've learned between, like, somebody being a CEO and just a business owner or entrepreneur, most people who are in business, they make choices for themselves. They don't think about other people in business, right? And that's going to determine whether or not you're going to be just a solo dolo entrepreneur versus somebody that's going to be able to manage a corporation. You have to make tough choices, tough decisions for everybody. So if something happened, you can't drop everything and go handle what you need to go handle. You have to do what you have to do for the business. So that means business keep running, right? So if you're Jeff Bezos, I understand that we're working and somebody got hurt. We need to have better systems in place. But these people that pay for these products need their stuff. You know what I mean? So that's why they feel like, you know, business owners and business professionals are cutthroat. You kind of have to be, right? And that's why they say it's easier to find a needle in a haystack to find a rich person going to heaven. Because, man, you have to cut some corners, right, to get up there with this business thing, right? Because it's all about the dollars and the cents. So I have learned over my life, like, you can't prioritize money over people all the time. But at the same time, we have to have the balance. We have to maintain the equilibrium. All right. Another thing, a lot of times, you know, if you watch She Rise 7, I love her and I know she's taking off right now. But the thing is, a lot of times as a Black woman, we prioritize, you know, our feelings and emotions over the financials and the paperwork. Okay. And we oftentimes equate, you know, being in, you know, more affluent relationships and different things like that. Like, that person is more likely to abuse you and different things like that. So we equate on a subconscious level that having money and being rich is something that's bad for us, because that's all we see. And a lot of times they paint it like that because they want to keep it, right? They want to keep it where it's just a few people reaching and achieving and doing all these different things. And then also, because we as Black women oftentimes feel so, you know, undervalued, we look for the value in our relationships, right? And so men prioritize and they eat off of us needing that validation, right? They need that. They eat off of that, and then they screw us over the end. I feel like if I would have focused more on my craft, more on the things that bring me joy, more of bringing, you know, wealth and abundance, and just, even though I was on it, I feel like I could have been way on it if I wasn't, like, focused on relationships. And I feel like we should have a balance of being in relationships. You know what I'm saying? We should, because Black girls, we don't get those dating talks. We don't get that. We don't get that. We always prioritize education. You know what I mean? Handling our business. And we don't get that. And that's how we fall victim in bad relationships. But it's just kind of like, if I would have focused on my passion, if I would have focused on the things that really, really brought me joy finding myself, then I probably would be a little further right? Financially, and even whatever it is that I was trying to do, right? Because I wasn't focusing on a relationship. I feel like as soon as we get out of those relationships, we bounce back, we figure it all out because they were clouding our judgment and they were sucking us dry on a subconscious level, right? Because we never needed the other person for the fulfillment. We needed it from ourselves. Amen. Let me cook. Okay. So the other thing, let me see what else. I think that's that. I think that covered that right there. Yes. So yeah, I had this quote from Lady Gaga. It's my favorite quote from Lady Gaga. She said, your passion in your career will never wake up and tell you it doesn't love you anymore. Not saying that the men don't love, okay? I'm not saying that, because I'm definitely believing that there is someone out there for everybody, but I feel like we spend more time looking for a good man or looking for, whatever the case may be, when we should be setting ourselves up. And I feel like we are having a shift. That's why they have this loneliness epidemic, where we are prioritizing ourselves and our happiness. And if he can't add an asset to our life, then he himself is a liability. And we're not having anything to do with that. Period. Point blank. Okay, next thing. This is soft life tips. Okay, soft life. Pick an easy job. In my last video, I told you about how I didn't receive the lessons from my parents. Like, I resented them for telling me to go into a boring job. They wanted me to pick something easy, something boring, because they never wanted me to be a struggling artist, because they have seen struggling artists. They know what it does, and they know what kind of decisions you make when you make choices from, scarcity. And they always wanted me to have a baseline, right? And because they didn't explain it like that, now I get it now, but it's just like, I wish we were better communicators using our words, so you pick an easy job. You pick something that people, when they retire, the retirement is like they on they deathbed, basically. You stay in those types of jobs that you can work over and over and over again. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right? Think of next Friday, with Day Day and Craig, or Day Day, I think it was Day Day and Craig, and they were in that box, and he was like, we just gonna get this money, right? You gonna watch your mouth, you gonna watch your temper. Think of those types of jobs, right? And also think about jobs that, you have good coworkers, good energy, because that is going to increase the likelihood of you being able to stay at that job for a long period of time. You need a job that the boomers have. Whatever the boomers are doing, you need to be doing it, because they don't retire. They don't. They stay in those fields. You need to pick a job like that. And with that money, flip that money, right? And go into your passion. Use that money and funnel it. If you get a job that is too hard, too stressful, too emotionally and physically taxing, you won't have anything to invest into your side hustle. That's why there's a side hustle. You have to have some energy. Pick something easy but lucrative, right? Live within your means, right? Flip that money and then go into what you really want to do, right? The parents don't be explaining it right. They not saying it right. You got to say it like that, You got to pick something easy. They don't be telling us everything, until after the fact, when you done figured it out. I'm trying to tell you what it is right now, right? And then after you have your baseline, you can invest your time in improving whatever it is that you want to do. If you want to go and get your body done, go and get your body done, and then flip that. It's whatever you want to do, but you have to have your basic needs met. Once you have your basic needs met, then you can expound from that. That's why it's it's better to already have a job, then you can get another job. Well, if you already have abundance, you get your basics, you flip that, and you don't have to make choices out of necessity. Oh, I gotta do this. Oh, I need these people. No, I don't need these people, right? And here's another thing. People ain't gonna like this, but it's just like when you get a job, you need to make sure you position yourself to be the boomer. The boomer, they can't fire the boomer because they've been there the whole time. They know everything. They know everything. They know they've been doing this thing for 15, 20 years, right? So you need to position yourself in a job to be indispensable. They can't just leave you. They can't function without you. They need you there. Now, this is dark psychology, but it's like they use dark psychology on us all the time, right? So you have to weaponize your workforce, right? If they want you to be a human resource, you the asset, then you have to do what you have to do to maintain control at this job. They paying you. They need you. That's how you keep the job. And the moment they forget the program, it's time to reset at a new job and keep flipping it. Job hop. I like the job hop. This is the first time I ever been a job for a long time. I always get another job, another job, another job. Get another job. You get one, you get another one. You get another one. It's easy. It's only as easy as you believe it is. Get another one, okay? And always go where they paying the most. Best benefits, better amenities. Trade up. You trade up in men and you trade up in these jobs. Never go to something is always better than the last thing, okay? Like, I don't care what it is. A win is a win, but you got to pick something that is better than the last thing, okay? The next thing is live within or a little bit below your means. Now, I'm not going to lie, you girl, listen, hot water, because listen, I like to shop. And once you have achieved or been brought into a certain life, it's hard to go down, right? And something that I've learned, it's easier to make more money than it is to go down, to downsize, in my personal opinion. So I always just make more. Just make more. I feel like women, we're supposed to expand our horizons. It's girl math. Make more money. Just make more money. I believe that if I get a bill and I don't have it, that means I'm supposed to be responsible for more money. So if I'm supposed to be responsible for more money, I need to figure out what do I need to, I'm supposed to have more money. We need to be bringing that in. Think about how can you increase your money. See, this is what our parents should have been telling us. They told us to focus on school, school, school. But here's the thing with focusing on school, school, school. You can be the most educated and still lose your job. We should have been focusing on financial stability, financial independence. That's what we should have been doing. But the thing is, it's hard to teach somebody that if you don't already have it yourself. So oftentimes we find ourselves repeating and regurgitating the same financial decisions that our parents and grandparents been doing, right? From Mississippi, sharecroppers. We don't really like debt, you know what I mean? But I don't know, it seems, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you owe money. I don't like owing money. I don't like credit cards. I don't even like that because if you give me some money, you have now given me some money. That's what I hear, right? So it's like we're trying to unlearn these different things, financial trauma and different things that we have in our family. So it's just like living within or below our means. It's hard to do that when you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're dealing with inflation. Nobody wants to talk about that. Of course, we have to be responsible. We have to be good stewards of our money. I feel like if we are good stewards with what we have, then we are blessed with more. That's what I believe. And you need to start believing that as well. Be good with your money. He gonna give you some more. Okay. Period. Always. Every single time. Okay. But it's just like we have to unlearn that, unlearning it, right? Strive for freedom, okay? Financial freedom. That is the T. Financial freedom. I know we have to have good credit and everything like that, but I personally just want to be financially free. However that means, because I believe that the debtor is a slave to the creditor. So if you get a loan from somebody, you always have to keep paying them a loan over and over and over again. Then you got to pay the interest rate. You got to pay all these different things that go into it. The girl, it's too much. It's too much when I could just pay you in cash. But that's not how our system, our financial system works in this day and age, right? And even if you take out a loan and you pay it right off, they're going to decrease your credit because they didn't want you to pay a lump sum or a lump sum of paying your credit card. They look at that like, where did you get that money from? Well, I'm paying you back. What you mean? Where I get it from? Do it matter? See what I'm saying? And they'll decrease your credit limit. So it's just like, girl, I ain't got time for it. I don't have time. I do not have time. The next thing, time is your most valuable asset because you don't get the time back. You don't. That's why you need to pick something like an easy job where you can maximize your time. Use the easy job to get your master's degree or start a business on the side or maybe be gainfully employed. You know what I'm saying? They have these new laws where I think they got rid of the no compete. You can work for 2 jobs at the same time. You see what I'm saying? Get 100,000 virtual jobs. You understand? Right? See, when we start doing the stuff that, you know what I'm saying, they want to take it away. But I'm telling you, that's flip that. Flip that. How can you maximize your time? How can you set your time up so that you can make more money, right? Your time. They not printing out new time. All right? Time and land, because they not creating new earths. Right? The earth is the earth. So you need to go ahead and be buying up the land. You need to be make sure that your time is being spent wisely because you're not getting that back. Never be anywhere where you feel like it's a waste of time. Don't be talking to people that's wasting your time. Don't be in relationships that's wasting your time. Time, because you're not going to get that back. And then when you don't get your time back and you spend it the wrong way, you're going to be resentful having spent it doing whatever, you know. And the biggest regrets that people have when they're about to meet the maker is that they didn't do certain things. So use your time wisely. Okay. And then also don't be afraid to start over. Don't feel like, okay, yeah, I wasted my time. Now I got to start over doing da 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 da. If you made $100,000 yesterday and then you lost it 30 minutes after that, well, what did you do? Now we need to be figuring out how we gonna make another 100,000. Because if you did it one time, you can do it again. You understand? So it's just like, remember everything, right? Like, it's okay to start over. It's okay to try new things and expand. You're never too old or whatever to do something new or go in a different direction. Okay. The next one is give without expecting it back, but don't be a fool. Okay, all right. I believe that money is currency. All right, has to do with water, circulation, abundance, right? So I give, I receive. Not a problem. And I don't feel like I have to, give money with expecting it back or giving time expecting it back. Is really the joy and the fulfillment that somebody is getting something that they needed, right? I was able to brighten up someone else's day. And I feel like stuff like that goes a wonderful, like that goes a long way. You know what I mean? So, but also don't be a fool, right? If you know that somebody is not a good steward, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing financially, and you try to give them some advice or whatever like that, like, I'm not gonna lie, me and my sister talk about this all the time, about our siblings and everything like that. Listen, I don't mind giving you a little $20 here and there, right? But when I gotta give you $20 every week, you have now become a reoccurring bill. All right. And I love you, but I am not the bank. Okay. Period. And what I do know is if you keep being a bad steward of your money, then you get cut off. And if I give you some money, I think it's bad luck because now I'm going to get cut off because sometimes people are in a financial drought. Okay. You don't want to be a part of their financial drought. All right. If they don't learn their lessons, then you become a part of their lesson, and we're all learning the lesson. I'm like, no. I'm not learning that lesson. I learned mine. I don't need to be a part of whatever you got going on. I tried to give you advice. You don't want to take my advice. Okay. I can't help you. You see what I'm saying? And then also, this goes into having money and having a soft life. Like, once you start doing well financially, everybody automatically think that you already have it put together. Like, they're always asking you for stuff, asking you for things. And then also, like, you start to feel like people care more about the money you make rather than you as a human being. Or, they think because you have the money, you have the finances, you have these assets, that you're automatically okay. You can have money and be depressed. You can have money and be crazy. You know what I mean? You can still feel undervalued when you have the money or you have the man with the money or whatever the case may be. You see what I'm saying? So you really have to make sure that you're prioritizing yourself over the money. The dollar amount is not the value. You are the value. You are the prize. You know what I mean? It's just a byproduct of you doing what you're supposed to be doing for yourself. You know, take some courses, but also get the professional helps. Okay, work on yourself. Period. Because people be hurting your feelings. You think they calling to talk to you, but they really asking you for a loan. Like, that hurts your feelings. Like, it hurt my feelings. Anyway. Thrive to be in alignment. Okay. Sometimes I feel like we are in situations where we're trying to figure out, like, why aren't things, working out for me and everything like that. You might be out of alignment. You might not be where you're supposed to be at. You might not be around the people you're supposed to be at. Or maybe everybody is not going to be riding with you. Everybody is not going to be a recipient of the blessing. Everybody ain't going. Everybody not invited, period. And so when you drop people, you'll find that you are getting your blessing. An example, celebrities, things not working for them. They lose their boyfriend. Now they getting casting calls. You see what I'm saying? You couldn't figure your life out, broke up with this man. Now you a millionaire. You a billion, 6 figures. You got that promotion. You know what I'm saying? So it's like whatever that person is, they were sucking you dry of your energy and you weren't able to level up, and you level up on the inside and then your outside, external, it matches the inside. So within, so without, if you will. Okay. So just keep that in mind. Invest in yourself. Okay. A lot of people, investing in yourself could be your looks, but investing in yourself is reading books. It could be, trying a new program, going back to school. We love going back to school. It could be a variety of things. There's no dead set way on investing in yourself. But when you invest in yourself, make sure that you find that value in yourself. Okay. The degrees don't make you, right? The dollar amounts don't make you. You know what I mean? You're more than those things. Those are just ambitions. Those are just goals. Those are just objectives that you want to achieve within yourself. And that's great. But at the same time, you the prize. It's about you. That's something that you wanted to do. You know what I mean? But it's not everything. Another thing is we oftentimes think that we have all these degrees and we have our bodies done or we have da 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 da. And we think that we have to fit a certain type of mold to get certain opportunities and resources. And that's not necessarily the case. You can get a rich man and, you might not be the slimmest or whatever. You can get a promotion and you're not the smartest, right? So don't think that you're limited by only what you see other people having, or you have to be like them to get what they have, or whatever the case may be, and unlearn that we have to work 10 times harder. Yes, in certain things they say we got to work 10, but I don't believe that. I feel like, wealth flows to me and through me in the easiest way. Okay. That's what I truly believe. I truly believe it. Now, is my wealth like somebody else's wealth? Am I as rich as I want to be? No, not yet. Not yet. But when I unlock that, we'll have that. An example, I thought that I wanted to be a corporate librarian. I thought I was going to be a corporate baddie. I did. Very public humiliation, because I vlogged that. I did. And I didn't get the job I thought I wanted. You know what I mean? But in hindsight, I had no business being there. Out of alignment. I'm not a corporate baddie. I'm not. I'm just a baddie. You know what I mean? I'm nothing corporate about me. It's amazing how I even made it in there in the first place. But I had that experience, I've never been told no, ever. Well, no, just not really. I can't really. That was the first time I ever had a job interview and thought I was going to get it and then didn't get it. And it was humiliating. That was the first time that ever happened to me, right? I've always gotten especially in person, they loved me. That was the other part. They loved me. I was in there, but it went to somebody that was more senior because of political reasons. You know what I'm saying? But it's just kind of like, I got what I wanted, but in a different environment because I'm doing exactly what I want to do. I'm an asset, right? Do stuff on my time, respect it for my individuality and my creativity and authenticity. And I actually like the people and it's not fake. You know what I mean? So oftentimes we think we know what we want, but you get what you want just in a different location, or like you want the present to come in this pink gold wrapping, but you got it in the yellow gold wrapping. You still got the present. Do it matter how it came in the packaging? No, it don't. You know, I'm happy and I'm fulfilled and I'm doing what I love because that's the point. The job was never about the job. The job was so that we could do our passion. Okay? When you have a job that consumes so much of your energy, it's hard for you to find your passion. It's hard for you to balance and find your identity outside of the job because you have now become the job. And I'm not the job. All right? I'm not just the human resource. Like we doing a bargain. I'm giving you a little bit of my time for a lot of money. And I always believe in, minimum effort, maximum money. That is my rule. Most people won't like that. You know what I mean? Most people will not like that. Most people won't say that part out loud, but that is the bargain. The bargain is minimal effort, maximum reward, period. That is what we're looking for. If we can't have it, then it's time to find another one. Somebody is going to give that to you. And I know some people are like, oh, that doesn't exist. This, da, 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 da. It exists. It exists. Listen, you have to fail upward. This is another one. Fail upwards. Most people who are in leadership are not the best leaders. They're not the smartest. They're always asking you to do the work. That's why they need you there. So you can do their job for them. They take all the credit. That's the game. If you know the game, then you know how to play the game. And if you don't think you're in a game, you're losing. Just say you lose it. Just say you lose it. But there, all that little dark psychology stuff that I be telling you, I be trying to tell y'all, that is the game. That is it. That is it. They be playing Jedi mind controls on us and we never see it, but that is exactly what they're doing. Okay. The smartest people are not in leadership. So that means you don't have to be smart. You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be the most educated at anything. You just have to be a good communicator. You just have to be able to read the room. You just have to be able to sell it. Can you sell? That's what you're supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to circle back. They love a circle back. If you do the work too quick, then you making everybody else look bad. Okay? I actually got in trouble with that corporate job. I was doing everything better than everybody else. You can't do that. You have to perform where everybody else is working at. All right? If you find yourself doing too much work, go to the bathroom. Take a break because you're doing too much. You need to take it easy. Take it day by day, step by step. That's what Whitney want, right? Don't do more. Don't do more because then you become the scapegoat. They don't know what to do with you. You see what I'm saying? And then also, jobs exist only if there are problems. If you go in trying to solve the problem, then you have eliminated jobs. Okay, now you are a liability. You can't go in there problem solving like that for real. That's just a nice little word to put on your resume. They don't really want to solve no problems. They don't really want to do nothing. Just do whatever they doing. That's what, because listen, we here for what? The check. That's it. And most people don't want to say that out loud. You're not going to hear people saying, oh, we're here for the check. But listen, the check keeps you soft, right? The check keeps you soft. Right? And then the other part, there's this debate between having a job, making your own money versus getting a man to do it. I'm equal. Okay? Because if you listen to your boss or you listen to the man, you know what I'm saying? You have to figure out a way, whatever you choose to do with your life, how can you maintain order? How can you maintain a program? You have to run a tight ship, whether it's a job or a man, it does not matter. You have to maintain control. You have to always prioritize yourself. You have to know that you are the star player. We make star player decisions. You need to be investing. Okay. I was just sitting here meditating. I don't know. I'm thinking about, because I got to figure out, look, listen. Okay. Yeah, I'm filing bankruptcy. Okay, boom. But we're going to be okay. Okay, listen. And so I'm like, am I going to buy a house? But then I'm going to be tied down for 15 to 30 years. That sounds like a lot. Okay. I don't want to be tied down for that long. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot. And then what if something break? My dishwasher went, you know what I'm saying? Like, that stressed me out. And it's like, when something goes wrong in an apartment, you can call somebody to come help you. Like, dun da da da. But when you in a house, and the air, ignore them. The air got one time to go off. And I can't handle it. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like, I was thinking about all of those different things. And then I was also looking at housing prices. And like, it was just too much for me. It's too much. So I'm thinking about, maybe taking a course and trying to figure out different ways that I can invest and save my money and make better choices. Okay? Because we're going to be good. Listen, the other part, because I know this is soft life, but listen, it's all about the financials. This is the financial vibe. Listen, you might be down on your luck, but you ain't got to stay down on your luck. You know what I'm saying? Like you might be down, but we not down forever, girl. Like, you're going to get back up, period. You're going to get back up. Let me make sure that we covered everything. Oh, I want to cover this real quick. Listen. You remember how I said you don't have to be the smartest person? Listen, you also don't have to be the most beautiful. Whatever your goals are, right? Because I'm not in your business like that. I'm not in your business. Whether you want to get a job or do something else, that's up to you. That's your thing. But here's the thing. When you work in a job, you don't have to be the smartest. You can be average looking. But I've learned that when you're beautiful, gorgeous, breathtakingly gorgeous, like, people don't take you seriously. And that's okay. You don't have to be taken seriously. You don't have to be the cutest. You just have to be able to have good communication skills and, an opportunist. You have to be able to see, because people don't see you as a threat and they don't take you seriously. And that's a mistake on their end, right? But you learn more about people and you learn how to move around in different circles, as opposed to just being in one set thing. You become a jack of all trades. You make yourself indispensable. You find where people are in need and you are able to supply whatever it is that they need. Tit for tat. If you don't think that in relationships or in business or whatever, that it's not tit for tat, I do something for you, you do something for me. That's how business deals, all that stuff is made. Okay? It's all tit for tat. It's all, you know what I mean? So you have to make sure that you're looking at the different political angles. And I'm not talking like politics. I'm talking like, who in the office talk about this, who have these keys, who can open these doors, who can do this, who can do that. And sometimes it's not all money, right? Money, the favors aren't just money. It could be just, somebody putting in a good word, somebody hooking you up with something. You just never know. So always, be on your P's and Q's. These are also things we learned at Howard. You never know who you're talking to. The bum you knew over there could turn into a multimillionaire. You know what I mean? And people hold grudges. So you have to always be on your P's and Q's. You don't know who you're talking to. You don't. Just because somebody is not dressed up, just because somebody is not in the suit, just because they don't look like they got clout or whatever the case may be, that is not reason enough to discount them, because you do not know. That's why I listen to anybody. Anybody can impart wisdom. Anybody. You can learn from anybody. Right? And if people feel like you the underdog, if people don't take you seriously, again, it's a mistake. It is a mistake on their end because they do not know. They don't know what they don't know. You are now an unknown unknown. And that's the best place to be, because the moment you stick out, the moment, right, you talking a little too louder or you making them look bad, now you're a threat, right? So you gotta stay in the middle. Now, I'm not saying we shrinking for other people, right? But you always have to remind yourself and be cognizant of the dynamics. You know what I mean? Like if somebody has something that you need, then you do what you have to do to get what you need. Does that make sense? You do what you have to do to get what you need out of the situation. If you need this job to pay your rent, then you do what you have to do to pay your rent. Okay? Now, when you don't have to use them no more for the rent, then you can go get somewhere else and then, you know what I mean? And always peep the signs. Always peep the signs. Peep the signs, because the signs will tell you when it's time to move on. Okay? In a relationship, in a job, whatever the case may be. Okay? Do not stay longer than you need to, and leave first. Be the first one to go. Oh, I gotta go. Yeah. Leave. Your presence should be desired. They should miss you. You know, you get the upper hand. You have to have it. You got to run a strict, tight program. However you choose to do your lifestyle, that's I'm trying to make the advice suitable for whatever you choose to do, because I am impartial. But I just oftentimes see that people think that they have to look like something to get whatever it is that they want. And that's not necessarily so, because beauty is in the eye of the beholder. There are different types of people out there and they like different things. So those different people that like different things, they have different money. So, you know, you can do what you want to do however you want to do it, right? But you got to have it up here. If you don't have nothing up here, then you ain't going to have nothing in the wallet, okay? I'm just saying, okay? Listen. We have been on here for 45 minutes. I think that's it. I think I covered it all. Live life on easy mode. Okay. I want you to live life on easy mode. And the best way to do that is to make sure that you have your finances in check. Okay. The best way. And to center yourself and to regulate your nervous system. You don't want to be in a place of lack. You know what I mean? Oh, I need this. I gotta have this, because you'll make bad choices. And those bad choices leaves an imprint. Okay. I'm not trying to get too woo-woo on it, but it's just kind of like when you're in a state of abundance, and that could just be I'm thankful that I have the food that I need to have. I'm thankful these lights are on. I'm thankful I have this and that. I have more than what other people, I'm doing better than most. Not where I want to be, but we gonna get there one day. Just being grateful for that, and then not afraid to give, donating to charity. That's why a lot of rich people give and do philanthropic projects, because you're circulating the money. You're doing something good, right? Yeah. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Soft life starts with abundance from the inside. Okay. But you got to have a little dark psychology. Because they using it on you. Why wouldn't you use it on them? Okay. You're welcome. Okay. This is how you get your soft life. Have a blessed day. I'm going to go to bed.